Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel Tarni the Practical AI Dev. In our previous video, I have explained the basics of MCP, and today's video we will going to see the live demo of AI expense tracker using Google MCP Server. So let's get started. So I created a very basic AI expense tracker using a Python. So I can explain step by step. So first, basically, so this workspace is actually AI powered expense tracker with two main pieces. Okay. So first is the app.py. So this app.py is a fast API expense tracker API. So you can see the fast API endpoints, and then there is a Google MCP server one. So this is a MCP style Google Sheet server that reads, writes either sheet rows and everything. And then there is a MCP client, a client that connects the app.py to the MCP server. And this is a model. So model is nothing but the data models for request and response. And there is a readme requirement.txt file and env file, everything. So first let's go to the app.py. So this is the expense tracker. The purpose is that is the main API service for expense intake and sheet reading, everything. So there are key parts are load dot env. So basically it is an environment variable from env file. So it will load the environment variables, and there is a sheet client. So basically it creates the MCP client, so that will call the sheet server, like basically MCP server. And there is a fast API, so it's initialize the API, and there is a parse in expense with LLM. So this here I just added the prompt. So based on that prompt, whatever user input are there, it will extract that in the JSON format, and it will go to the LLM, and what it will do, it will give you the content. I'll explain the, when we do the demo, you will come to know very clearly. Next, there are endpoints. So this is a normal health check endpoint, and this is a sheet /sheet. So it will read the Google Sheet, and this API just update the Google Sheet. So now let's go to the Google MCP server. So Google MCP server. So here also this is actually designed fast API service. So this wraps the Google Sheets via G spreads. So this is exposing the simple REST API for the sheet operations. So configurations are Google Sheet credentials, Google Sheet spreadsheet, and then worksheet. So for that you need, before you start, you need a Google Cloud account. So what you have to do is you have to go to Google Cloud account, and then you have to create a new account, and then your service account. So once you create that service account, you have to go to the enabled APIs and services. So once you go here, you will see all the list of Google services. So here you can check any Google Sheet. So if you see the Google Sheet, there is a Google Sheet API and Sheets MCP. So if you go to Sheets API, you can also use, you can enable it. So I have already enabled it. So same way you can go to the Sheets MCP API, and then you can enable it. I already enabled it. So once this is done, what you have to do is you have to go to the credentials. So basically credentials are nothing but you have to create your service account inside in the Google Cloud, so that you can connect your local to the Google MCP using that credential. So I already created the credentials using service account and everything. So once you done this, you can go to the env file, and you can paste all the details like your type, project name, and then private key, everything you can get it from that, and you can export and you can use it here. And this is the spreadsheet, and this is the worksheet, and this llama URL. I think this is not required for now. So let me go to the sheet. So this is my current sheet. I have it in my Google account, and this is a basic one, and this is a sheet name, daily expenses. So that's it. So the configurations are ready. Now Google MCP one. So what it will do, so this is basically a normal REST APIs using fast API. Same way health check, and then sheet rows, everything. So basically this sheets rows is nothing but we are getting the worksheet and getting all the records. Same way for appending also, you're getting the sheet and you're appending the request. So the request is coming from the sheets append API, and then you can append it to the worksheet. So this is very simple. So now let's go to the MCP client. So as you know, for the main components of MCP is a MCP client and then MCP server. So this is a MCP client, how actually it is working. I will explain. The purpose is that the client used by a app.py to talk to the MCP server. So this MCP client is directly, it's using from the app.py, not in the directly in the Google MCP server. So Google MCP server is nothing but we are running a separate server in separately, like Google MCP server separately, and our app.py and then MCP client, this application separately. What it will do, this app.py connects to the MCP client, and MCP clients directly connect to your Google MCP server. So this one is running in 3000 port. So once this is done, so inside that these functionalities are there. So this will directly connect to your Google Sheet and update everything. So this is a very basic workflow of the MCP. So now the models are nothing but it's I mean, you can just expense the input and then record and then sheet update request, so those things. So this one you can easily understand this thing. So why it is better? So a response model so basically enforce the API shape and then makes the docs clearer. So that is why we have explicitly added the models. And what else? So we already have the supporting files like read and these things. So I will add this this GitHub thing in the description. You can refer it. So now let's start the demo. Okay, so now I'll go here. What I have to do now is I will first start the Google MCP server. So MCP server is nothing, it runs separately, not in your application. Your application connects to the MCP server. So your application connects to MCP client, MCP client connects to your MCP server. So now I will run the MCP server. So here Google server. So what it will do, it will run the fast API, and let me open the endpoint. Swagger. It's in 3000 port. Yeah, so these are the Google Sheet MCP server. So here if you try it out, execute, what it will do, it will read the rows and columns in the sheet, and it will give you the details. So currently if you see, there is no rows or columns, so it is giving the empty rows. And if you append it, so let me append it from our application. So first I started the Google MCP server. Now I'll start my application, the AI expense tracker application. So what I'm going to do now is I will just start this thing. So basically this run.sh is nothing but you are just opening the virtual environment, and using Vicon you are doing the starting the server. So I just started it, and now what I can do is I'll go here and I'll just open the Swagger page of that my application. So this is the expense tracker API Swagger. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to try it out, execute. So what now it will do is this app.py is connecting to the MCP client. MCP client is connecting to this Google MCP server, and this MCP server gives you the details and it will give you the response, something like this. So now its rows are empty. So now you're clear about the end-to-end process. Now let's go to the real demo. So what I'm going to do is, so now you will have the question like where this LLM plays the role. So now here is the LLM plays the role. So now this is the text and model, just two different inputs. So this text, what I'm going to give is I mean I can give something like dinner rest 10,000 team. Okay. So this is the plain text what I'm going to give. So what LLM will do, it will take this text and it will convert into a Python readable JSON. So that JSON will go to your MCP client, and MCP client will send this to the MCP server, Google MCP server, and that will append everything to your Google Sheet, and it will give you the response. So now what I'm doing is I'm just executing it. So if you go here, so this app.py, I just ran this sheet update, and it is actually having this request as a text and then model, and what it will go to here, it will go to the parse expense with LLM. So this prompt is generated. So basically I want the JSON something like this: date, category, merchant, amount, and notes. So the rules are today's rate, and then the categories are this one, the amount must be number, and this is the instance of place, and then this is the user text, like plain text. So what it will do, this is the prompt. Now I'm calling the LLM. So this LLM will have your system role and user role, and I'm passing the prompt. So the response is nothing but it gives you the set of JSON. I mean, it will give you this JSON format or something like this, and that will go into your, so that will go to your sheet client, I mean basically the MCP client, and that will append your rows. So this append row is nothing but it will go to your MCP client, and here it is calling the Sheets MCP, Sheets append API, REST API, that is actually under in your Google MCP server, and this is the URL, and it will give you the response, and the response comes back to your app file, and this is the rows, and this is now your response. Now let's go here, see what is the response. So actually here the sheet clients, so here we are already appending it, and also what we are doing is we are reading the rows. So reading rows is nothing but there is another API we have, right, get API. So that same functionality it is doing. So now let's go back here, and if you see, so now if you go here, you will see the today's date is August 20, and the category is food, restaurant, and the amount is 10,000, and then notes is team outing. So now you are clear, right? So what we did is the LLM extracted JSON is something like this, and we are adding the record to the sheet is this one, and then reading the rows, and the final rows is this one. That's it. So it's a very basic and simple Google MCP server connecting from local MCP client. So you have a doubt like, so every time should I create a MCP server locally and do this thing? No. So it's few MCP servers, for example, few of the organization, they already have the few MCP servers. So what you can do is you can utilize, like for example, there is a Jira MCP server. So you want to create a Jira ticket. So in that case, you can implement that Jira ticket, Jira create MCP inside your MCP client. You can directly call that MCP server, and then you can do this. For example, if it is part of your application, then you can directly call that your an MCP hub, and then get that details, and you can use it. So that's it. So this is a complete end-to-end workflow of the MCP server. So I hope you understand this MCP workflow live demo. Hope you like this video. If you have any doubts or any queries, you can add in the comments, and don't forget to subscribe, like and share. Thanks for watching. Thank you.